Jake Thompson was not your ordinary guy. While many people spent their weekends watching sports or scrolling through their phones, Jake found joy in the whispering winds and rustling leaves of the forest. He lived in a small town on the edge of evergreen woods, a place known for its tall trees and serene beauty. Whenever he could break away from his daily routine, he would head into the woods to hike, explore, and let nature's wonders inspire him. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more. And tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. The townsfolk often chuckled about Jake's fascination with Bigfoot. To them, he was just an old legend, an oversized creature that walked on two legs and lived deep in the woods. But for Jake, Bigfoot represented something more than myth. He imagined a wise friend hiding among the trees, waiting to be discovered. To him, Bigfoot was a reminder of all the mysteries that nature held, waiting to be unveiled. One sunny afternoon, while sitting on a moss-covered rock by a bubbling stream, an idea struck him like a lightning bolt. What if I built a cabin right here? A cozy hideaway where Bigfoot might come to visit. The thought excited him so much that he could hardly contain his enthusiasm. It wasn't just a cabin for himself. It was an invitation to Bigfoot, a chance to connect with this mythical being. Back at home, Jake gathered his tools and materials. With determination and care, he sketched out his plans. The cabin would be simple but welcoming. A snug little home made of pine logs that blended with its surroundings. He envisioned a porch decorated with string lights and a fire pit outside for warmth and cooking. As days turned into weeks, Jake poured his heart into building the cabin. He carefully selected each log, sanded them smooth, and painted it with bright colors to make it feel cheerful. The sweet scent of fresh wood filled the air as he worked diligently under the sun and stars. Friends and family frequently teased him about his dreams of meeting Bigfoot. They wondered why he spent so much time in the forest when there were plenty of other hobbies he could pursue. But Jake just smiled and said, "You'll see. One day I'll prove that Bigfoot is real." He could feel that something special was waiting for him in the woods. He just needed to be patient. Finally, after weeks of hard work, the cabin stood proud among the towering trees. Its windows sparkled in the sunlight, inviting anyone who looked upon it to imagine what lay inside. As dusk settled over evergreen woods, Jake felt an exhilarating thrill sweep through him. What if tonight was the night? He set up everything perfectly. Fluffy blankets on the sofa inside, snacks on the table, and warm lights strung around like stars, invitingly twinkling in the surrounding night sky. The anticipation bubbled inside him like a freshly opened soda can. With everything ready for an adventure unlike any other, Jake settled down on the porch steps, watching as shadows danced among the trees. Heart racing with excitement and hope, he whispered softly into the stillness of the night, "Bigfoot, I'm here." Little did he know that this night would change everything forever. As the sun began to set over evergreen woods, painting the sky with vibrant shades of orange and pink, Jake sat on his porch, daydreaming about his grand idea. Building a cabin for Bigfoot was no small task, but he felt a deep sense of purpose surging through him. It wasn't just about constructing a house. It was about creating a space where magic could happen. A place where he could meet his woodland friend face to face. The excitement bubbled within him as he planned what the cabin would look like. It should be warm and inviting, he thought. Bigfoot is known for being misunderstood, so I want him to feel comfortable and safe here. He envisioned wide windows that would let in the soft glow of morning light and allow for breathtaking views of the towering trees outside. The cabin would need a sturdy door, one that would swing open to welcome Bigfoot with open arms. Jake had often read stories about Bigfoot and his elusive nature, how he preferred solitude and the tranquility of the forest. In his mind, he couldn't help but imagine what it would be like to finally have a conversation with the gentle giant. What stories would he tell? Jake pondered. What secrets does he know about these woods? With a newfound determination coursing through him, Jake grabbed a notepad and began to jot down a list of materials he would need. He wanted to use natural resources as much as possible, believing that this would resonate with Bigfoot's love for the wild. Logs for the walls, nice smooth wood for the floors, and stones for the fireplace, he muttered to himself as he scribbled. The next day, he set out into the woods with his trusty old pickup truck, ready to collect supplies. All around him, nature thrummed with life. The sound of birds chirping overhead and the rustling of leaves underfoot fueled his excitement further. It felt like he was embarking on an adventure that was much bigger than himself. After hours of gathering materials, Jake returned home feeling accomplished. He spent the following weeks preparing for building day. He watched videos on construction techniques and learned how to use tools he had never touched before. Jake's friends laughed when they visited and saw him surrounded by wood planks and tools. "You really think you'll meet Bigfoot?" they teased. But Jake just smiled, refusing to let their laughter dampen his spirit. With each nail he hammered and each plank he secured, Jake felt closer to fulfilling his dream. The cabin began to take shape, rising from the ground like a beautiful promise. Each evening after work, he would return to his construction site, feeling more at home among the trees every day. As daylight faded, Jake would sit outside on a stump, gazing up at the stars while imagining Bigfoot peeking out from behind a tree, watching him build this sanctuary just for him. With each passing day, his anticipation grew stronger. Would Bigfoot really come? Would they become friends? Jake believed that if he built this cabin with love and intention, magic would follow. Ultimately, it wasn't just about constructing a cozy cabin. It was about opening his heart to friendship and possibility. Each step of the process made Jake more certain that his dream would one day become a reality. One that might just lead him to a mythical encounter that would change everything. With a clear vision in mind, Jake was ready to dive into the construction of his cabin. The thrill of turning his idea into a reality filled him with energy. He woke up every morning excited to work, eager to see how his dream would unfold. Gathering materials became an adventure in itself as he roamed the woods, searching for the perfect logs and stones. Jake decided to use sturdy pine logs for the cabin's walls. Pine was abundant in evergreen woods and had a delightful smell that reminded him of fresh mountain air. He carefully selected each log, making sure they were straight and strong enough to withstand the elements. He could almost hear Bigfoot's approval in the rustling leaves as he worked, urging him to choose wisely. With the logs stacked neatly in a pile, Jake moved on to gathering stones for the fireplace. He imagined cozy nights spent by the fire, sharing stories with his imagined friend. The sound of clinking stones energized him as he filled his old truck with smooth, flat rocks collected from nearby streams. Each stone felt like a piece of nature's puzzle, fitting together perfectly. As he returned home each evening, Jake would look at the growing pile of materials with pride. It was not just building supplies. It represented hope and anticipation for what was to come. He sketched out blueprints on paper, carefully planning how all the pieces would fit together. His excitement bubbled over as he thought about what his cozy cabin would look like once it was complete. The first day of construction finally arrived, and Jake could hardly contain himself. He set up his tools, a hammer, nails, and a saw, laying them out as if preparing for a great adventure. With newfound confidence, he grabbed the first log and began securing it into place, feeling a rush of accomplishment at every nail pounded into wood. As he worked tirelessly under the sun, Jake's laughter echoed through the forest when he accidentally hit his thumb with the hammer. "Ouch, that's gonna leave a mark." He chuckled to himself, shaking it off with a smile. Mistakes were part of learning, and this was just another step toward creating something wonderful. Days turned into weeks as Jake immersed himself in building. He took special care to position each log so that they fit snugly together while leaving little gaps for ventilation. After all, Bigfoot might appreciate some fresh air. He painted parts of the cabin with earthy tones that blended seamlessly into the surrounding forest color palette. Jake also carved unique designs into wooden beams using simple tools, a swirl here or an animal face there, hoping that Bigfoot would appreciate these little touches of creativity. These personal elements made it feel even more special. He wanted every inch of that cabin to resonate with love. As evenings fell, Jake's heart swelled with joy watching his creation rise before him like a beacon of friendship waiting to be lit. Each sunset brought new inspiration. He could envision evenings spent by the fire pit outside under starlit skies, while tales were shared between them. Every nail hammered brought him closer not only to completing the cabin, but also to fulfilling his dream of meeting Bigfoot. Every moment spent building felt magical and meaningful, the promise of friendship blooming even before they had met. And so, with each step forward in construction, excitement grew stronger within him. His cozy cabin became so much more than four walls. It became a symbol of connection waiting patiently amid towering trees and shimmering stars. As the final touches were put on the cabin, Jake felt an overwhelming sense of excitement. He had worked hard to build this cozy sanctuary, and now it was time to create a welcoming atmosphere that would lure Bigfoot into his life. He wanted to make sure that when the mythical creature arrived, he would feel right at home. Jake decided that the area around the cabin needed to be inviting. He envisioned stringing up colorful lights that would twinkle like stars against the backdrop of the forest. On his next trip into town, he picked up cheerful solar-powered fairy lights that could be hung around the porch and along the trees nearby. When night fell, they would cast a warm glow, creating a magical ambiance. With the lights in place, Jake turned his attention to food. He remembered reading that Bigfoot was known to enjoy berries and nuts, so he planned to leave out a feast fit for a gentle giant. To prepare, he ventured into the woods once more, gathering wild berries, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. The sweet aroma filled the air as he placed them carefully in a basket. Next, he thought about adding some nuts to the mix. He foraged for acorns and hazelnuts, placing them alongside the berries. With his basket full of treasures from nature, Jake returned to his cabin and set up a small table outside. He arranged the colorful fruits and nuts in an inviting display, hoping they would catch Bigfoot's eye. Jake also wanted to create a cozy sitting area where they could share stories together. He found some comfortable cushions and placed them on wooden stools he had made from leftover logs. The cushions were bright and vibrant, making it feel like a special gathering spot. He imagined himself sitting there with Bigfoot, exchanging tales of adventure under the starlit sky. As night approached, Jake lit a small fire pit just outside the cabin. The crackling of the fire added to the warmth of the atmosphere. He sat near the fire for a while, watching the flames dance and flicker as they illuminated his surroundings. "This is it," he said to himself with a smile. "Tonight could be the night." With everything set up perfectly, Jake took a moment to reflect on how far he had come. The cabin felt alive with possibility, and he could almost sense Bigfoot's presence lurking in the shadows of the trees. He whispered into the cool evening air, "Bigfoot, if you're out there, I've made this for you." As darkness enveloped the forest, Jake turned on the fairy lights and settled into his cozy spot by the fire, waiting with anticipation. The sweet scent of berries wafted through the air as he listened closely for any sounds that might indicate Bigfoot's arrival. Every rustle of leaves made his heart race with excitement. The night seemed full of magic, the kind that only happens when you dare to dream big and open your heart to friendship. Jake knew that he had done everything he could to make his cabin a welcoming home for Bigfoot. Now all he had to do was wait patiently for his woodland friend to arrive. As he gazed up at the stars twinkling overhead, Jake felt a sense of peace wash over him. Whether or not Bigfoot came that night didn't matter. What mattered was that he had created a space filled with love and warmth, a place where connections could blossom under the vast canopy of the forest sky. With hope in his heart, he sat back and listened to nature's symphony, ready for whatever magic might unfold. Jake sat in his cozy spot by the crackling fire, wrapped in a warm blanket as he gazed at the glowing lights that adorned his cabin. The smell of fresh berries mixed with wood smoke filled the air, creating a magical atmosphere. As the evening deepened, he felt a swirl of emotions. Excitement danced like the firelight, while a pinch of fear tingled at the back of his mind. This was it, his first night alone in the cabin he had built for Bigfoot. He took a deep breath, steadied himself, and smiled at the thought that perhaps tonight would be the night they would finally meet. But as night settled over evergreen woods like a thick blanket, shadows twisted among the trees, and Jake suddenly felt very small and very alone. The forest was alive with sounds that he hadn't noticed during the day. A chorus of chirps, rustles, and whispers filled his ears. At first, it felt comforting, like nature's lullaby wrapping around him. Yet as darkness deepened, those very sounds began to evoke swirling questions in Jake's mind. What if something truly mysterious lingered just outside his cabin? What if Bigfoot was far more elusive than he had imagined? Then came a strange sound, a low rumble, almost like a growl, escaping from somewhere out in the dark woods. Jake's heartbeat quickened as chills raced down his spine. Instinctively, he glanced around the cozy cabin, as if reassessing its safety. "It's probably just an animal," he murmured to himself, though he wished he believed it wholeheartedly. A few moments later, another noise pierced through the stillness, this one more distinct. It was a blend of rustling leaves, followed by what sounded like heavy footsteps moving cautiously closer to him. Jake held his breath. All thoughts of friendly woodland creatures vanished as awe transformed into anxiety. "Stay calm," he whispered to himself. Trying to be brave, he leaned closer to the glowing embers and reminded himself that this cabin was built with open arms for friendship. Even so, uncertainty shadowed his optimism. He thought of Bigfoot, the gentle giant depicted in stories, but had heard tales describing him differently. Some said he could be startled or frightened easily if approached too boldly. Should he call out? What would he say? The thoughts replayed like a looping film in his mind. Just then, another sound came, a gentle but unmistakable thud against the porch railing, followed by soft, sniffing noises that sent tingles down Jake's spine. He stilled himself as tension hung in the air. Everything within him urged him to peek outside, but fear anchored him in place. Maybe it's him, Jake wondered nervously. The firelight flickered wildly, as if echoing his heart pounding against his ribcage. Jake knew he had to summon courage, instead of bolting or hiding away inside. Could this moment be an opportunity instead? Heart racing yet hopeful, Jake whispered softly into the darkening night. "Bigfoot, if you're out there, I'm here." The forest held its breath as silence enveloped everything for a heartbeat before another rustle echoed nearby. Was this possibly Bigfoot responding? Excitement surged within him. Clarity dawned on Jake. He would embrace this moment of mystery rather than retreat from it. In that instant, caught between fear and anticipation, Jake realized that whatever awaited him outside, be it friend or foe, he was ready to welcome whatever happened next with an open heart. After all, magic often awaits just beyond our biggest fears. As the night deepened, Jake settled into a curious mix of anticipation and anxiety. He sat by the fire, the flames flickering softly, illuminating the surrounding woods. Just as he was beginning to feel less nervous and more hopeful, a rustle in the bushes brought his heart racing again. "What now?" he muttered. He expected the unexpected after hearing the strange noises earlier, but nothing could have prepared him for what came next. Out from the shadows emerged a curious raccoon, its masked face peeking out with wide eyes. The little creature froze for a moment, as if sizing Jake up. Jake chuckled softly. "Hey there, little buddy. Not Bigfoot, but I'll take it." The raccoon seemed unfazed by Jake's presence and sauntered over to investigate the table filled with berries and nuts. It was as if he had stepped into an impromptu wildlife show. Suddenly, with a swift motion, the raccoon knocked over a bowl of blueberries and began to munch away happily. "Watch it. Those are for my friend," Jake laughed, unable to be annoyed at such an adorable sight. The raccoon seemed oblivious to his words, completely focused on its delightful feast. Just then, another sound caught Jake's attention, this time coming from above. He looked up to see an owl perched on a branch nearby. The wise bird hooted softly as it surveyed the scene below, perhaps wondering what kind of odd human was sitting alone in the woods at night. "Hello there, Mr. Owl," Jake greeted playfully. "You wouldn't happen to know where Bigfoot is hiding, would you?" The owl blinked slowly in response, as if pondering its wisdom, before giving no answer at all. While Jake continued to watch his nocturnal visitor, he noticed that the raccoon had not only finished his share of blueberries, but had also managed to topple over an empty nut bowl in his excitement. With nutshells scattered around like confetti, it appeared more like a party than just an innocent snack. The sound of snickering made Jake turn once again toward the bushes near the cabin's edge, where he discovered a family of deer watching intently. A mother deer and her fawn standing frozen like statues in the dim light. They seemed fascinated by Jake's antics with their fellow woodland creatures. Encouraged by their presence and wanting to entertain them further, Jake raised his arms dramatically and exclaimed jokingly, "Welcome to my cabin party. Bring your friends." To his surprise, both deer took one cautious step forward, as if considering joining him. Just then, with a slight rustle behind him, something heavy brushed against the side of his cabin, a fleeting movement that made Jake jump again. His heart raced as he turned around quickly, but saw nothing. Perhaps it was just another critter daring enough to come close. "All right," he whispered to himself, while nervously giggling at how ridiculous he must seem talking to animals under moonlight. "I'm here trying to meet Bigfoot, and instead I'm hosting an animal gathering." As laughter bubbled within him like hot chocolate warming his spirit on a winter day, Jake realized that every unexpected visit from wildlife outside was bringing joy into what could have been a lonely night. Maybe they sensed that warmth he created, not only for Bigfoot, but also for anyone who dared venture close. A welcoming spirit amidst towering trees. With every amusing encounter, from raccoons raiding his berry stash to curious owls watching over him, Jake embraced this moment of nature unfolding around him. Each playful visit made waiting for Bigfoot feel less daunting. Instead of fearing solitude, he found connection in laughter shared with new woodland friends. Filled with joy and comforted by these whimsical moments under twinkling stars and shadowy trees, Jake reminded himself that whether or not Bigfoot arrived tonight did not matter. Already magic filled this beautiful evening among friends who appeared unexpectedly, among whispering leaves and glowing lights surrounding his cozy cabin. The second night in the cabin brought a sense of excitement that danced in the cool evening air. Jake was determined to stay hopeful about his quest to meet Bigfoot. After a day filled with preparation, cleaning up after his impromptu wildlife party and setting out fresh berries again, he lit the fire and prepared for another night of waiting. The flickering flames painted warm shadows on the walls, creating a cozy atmosphere that felt perfect for storytelling, even if he was the only listener. As he sat by the fire with a cup of steaming cocoa, Jake's mind replayed memories of the previous night's amusing encounters. He chuckled at the thought of the raccoon's antics, but deep down, he was still eager for something more significant to happen. Tonight might be different, he thought, allowing hope to bubble up within him like the cocoa in his mug. Jake decided to take a stroll around the cabin before settling in for the night. The forest held its breath as he stepped outside, the cool breeze rustling through the leaves overhead. Moonlight poured through the branches, illuminating the ground beneath his feet. As he walked, he scanned the area for signs of Bigfoot, anything that might give him a clue about his elusive friend. Suddenly, something caught his eye. Just outside his cabin door lay a series of footprints pressed into the soft earth. Jake's heart raced as he crouched down closer to examine them. They were large, much larger than any ordinary animal tracks he had ever seen before. The shape was wide and distinct, with deep impressions that suggested whatever made them had left quite an impression, not just on the ground, but on Jake's hopes. Could it be? He wondered aloud, excitement coursing through him. These footprints sparked curiosity more than anything else. They felt like a sign that Bigfoot might be near. Drawing in a deep breath, Jake traced his fingers along one of the prints, feeling a mix of awe and disbelief. He jumped up and hurried back into the cabin to grab his flashlight, determined to follow the trail. "This is it," he exclaimed, unable to contain his enthusiasm as he stepped back outside. With beams of light cutting through darkness, he illuminated each footprint leading away from his cabin into the depths of the woods. Jake took careful steps, following each track with a burgeoning sense of adventure. His heart pounded with both fear and thrill. Every sound seemed magnified in the hushed surroundings. A branch snapping here or leaves rustling there heightened his senses. What if Bigfoot was watching him right now? The thought both excited and terrified him. As he moved deeper into the woods, Jake couldn't help but imagine what kind of creature had made these prints. Did it walk silently among the trees like a ghost? Did it watch him from behind bushes? He paused for a moment, shining his flashlight around him as if expecting Bigfoot to emerge at any moment. Then came a sudden noise. A low rustling in nearby bushes sent Jake's heart racing again. He froze in place, holding his breath as anticipation gripped him. Was it Bigfoot? Or just another curious raccoon? In that moment of uncertainty, hope bloomed within him, stronger than ever before. He reminded himself that this journey was about more than just meeting Bigfoot. It was about embracing nature's wonders and exploring the unknown. With renewed determination, Jake called out softly into the night. "I know you're out there. If you can hear me, I'd love to meet you." As silence fell again around him, filled only with whispers of wind in trees, Jake felt more connected than ever to both Bigfoot and the beautiful wilderness surrounding him. Whether or not Bigfoot appeared that night didn't matter. What mattered was that each footprint brought him closer to understanding a mystery that hung beautifully in the air, an adventure unfolding beneath a canopy of stars that felt alive with possibility. After a night filled with anticipation and the thrill of adventure, Jake awoke to the soft light of dawn filtering through the trees. He felt energized, buoyed by the discoveries he had made and the possibility that Bigfoot might be near. The footprints outside had stirred something deep within him, a desire to connect not just through curiosity, but through sincerity. As he brewed a warm cup of coffee, he contemplated how to reach out to Bigfoot. "What would I say?" he asked himself. He wanted to express his genuine wish to meet this mythical creature and learn about his life in the woods. Jake knew that leaving a note was a good idea. It was a simple gesture that could bridge the gap between their worlds. He set down his coffee and rummaged through his backpack, pulling out a piece of sturdy paper and a pen. With each stroke of the pen, he poured his heart onto the page. "Dear Bigfoot, hello. My name is Jake Thompson, and I built this cabin because I believe you exist. I have always been fascinated by you and your stories. If you are out there, I would love to meet you. I want to learn about your life in these woods and hear your experiences. I promise to be kind and respectful. Please know that you are welcome here anytime. There are berries waiting for you, and I have a cozy place where we can share stories by the fire. Hope to see you soon. Sincerely, Jake." Satisfied with his note, Jake folded it carefully and decided to leave it outside on the porch where Bigfoot might find it easily. He placed it on a flat stone near the door, arranging some fresh berries around it as an offering. "This will show him I'm serious," he thought with a smile. With that small act complete, Jake felt a wave of excitement wash over him once more. It was as if he had opened another door on this journey, a door that could lead him toward friendship with the creature he admired so much. After enjoying breakfast and tidying up around the cabin, Jake spent the day exploring nearby trails, hoping to gather more clues about Bigfoot's existence. Every rustle in the underbrush or distant call from an animal made his heart race with hope. Perhaps this would lead him closer to understanding not just Bigfoot, but nature itself. As dusk approached once again, Jake returned to his cabin feeling invigorated by his adventures. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the woods as he prepared for another night under the stars. He lit a fire outside, letting its warmth envelop him like a comforting hug. He sat down on the porch steps, gazing out into the darkening woods while thinking about what he had written in his note. Would Bigfoot actually see it? Would he come? Questions danced in his mind like leaves caught in autumn winds. After some time lost in thought, Jake leaned back against the railing and whispered softly into the night air, "I hope you liked my note." The forest responded with silence. But this time it felt different, filled with possibilities rather than loneliness. With renewed purpose resting in his heart and sacred words left behind for Bigfoot to find, Jake settled back into hopeful anticipation under a blanket of stars. The night stretched before him like an unwritten story, one that held endless potential for magic and discovery amidst whispers of leaves dancing in cool evening breezes. The night had arrived, draping a blanket of stars over the forest as Jake sat on the porch steps of his cabin. The flickering fire casting playful shadows around him. The warmth from the flames curled around him like a comforting embrace. But beneath that comfort lay a familiar thrill of anticipation. He had spent the evening replaying the moments of his journey, from building the cabin to leaving that heartfelt note for Bigfoot. As the cool breeze rustled the leaves overhead, Jake felt a sense of calm wash over him. He had prepared himself for this moment, knowing that he might finally encounter the legendary creature he'd admired for so long. He lifted his eyes toward the deep indigo sky, searching for answers among the constellations. "If you're out there, Bigfoot," he whispered softly, "I'm ready to meet you." Just then, a gentle sound broke through the stillness of the night. A soft rustling followed by what sounded like a deep sigh. Jake's heart raced as he leaned forward, straining to listen. The forest held its breath, waiting along with him. He could almost hear the heartbeat of nature surrounding him. Suddenly, clear as day, a voice emerged from the shadows, saying simply, "Hello?" Jake froze in astonishment, his heart pounding in his chest like a drum. Was it really Bigfoot speaking? The voice was warm and inviting, echoing through the trees and wrapping around him like a gentle hug. He turned slowly toward the sound, every nerve in his body tingling with excitement and disbelief. Hello?" Jake managed to respond, his voice barely above a whisper. His mind raced with thoughts. Was this truly happening? Had he conjured up this moment through sheer hope and belief? From behind a nearby tree, a large figure stepped into view, illuminated by the soft glow of the cabin lights. Jake's breath caught in his throat as he beheld Bigfoot for the first time. The creature stood tall and majestic, covered in thick fur that blended seamlessly with the shadows of the forest. Its eyes shone bright with curiosity and kindness, revealing an intelligence that Jake had always imagined but never truly believed existed. For a moment, they simply stared at each other. Jake filled with wonder and awe, Bigfoot with a peaceful curiosity. The air between them seemed charged with magic, as if time itself had paused to savor this remarkable encounter. "Thank you for your note." Bigfoot spoke again, his voice deep yet soothing. "I've watched you build this cabin and waited for the right moment to come." Jake felt tears welling in his eyes as emotions swirled within him. "I can't believe you're real," he exclaimed, overwhelmed by joy and relief. "I've wanted to meet you for so long. I want to learn about your life in these woods." Bigfoot chuckled softly, a sound that resonated through the trees like distant thunder. "There are many stories to tell," he replied with a hint of warmth in his tone. "But first, let's share some berries." With newfound excitement bubbling inside him, Jake jumped up from the steps and gestured toward the table where he had laid out fresh berries before. Together they approached it, two unlikely friends sharing an evening filled with possibilities. As they sat under the shimmering stars, Jake marveled at how all his hopes had come together in this perfect moment. This night would become one he would cherish forever. A night when myth became reality, and friendships blossomed beneath an endless canopy of dreams. As Jake sat at the table with Bigfoot, a sense of wonder washed over him. Here he was, sharing berries with a creature he had idolized for years. Under the vast canvas of stars, a genuine friendship began to blossom, deepening with each passing moment. The warm glow from the porch lights flickered softly around them, creating an intimate atmosphere perfect for conversation. Jake took a deep breath, feeling both nervous and excited. I can hardly believe you're real. He started, his voice filled with awe. What's it like living in these woods all alone? Bigfoot smiled kindly, his deep eyes reflecting the starlight above. Loneliness is sometimes part of life in the forest, but it is not always a bad thing. His voice was rich and soothing, echoing through the night like a gentle melody. The forest is alive with stories. Each tree has witnessed something over time. I listen more than I speak. Jake nodded eagerly, hanging on to every word that fell from Bigfoot's lips. What kind of stories? He asked, leaning forward in curiosity. There are tales of seasons changing, of animals growing and learning. Bigfoot replied thoughtfully as he picked a berry from the bowl and popped it into his mouth. I watch families of deer navigate life together and see how each creature has its own role in this ecosystem. That sounds beautiful, Jake replied, captivated. I've always felt that there's so much more to nature than we realize. Bigfoot continued. Many people are too hurried to notice the little things, the rustling leaves, the whispering wind. They forget to pause and truly listen. He looked at Jake with understanding, as if sensing the deep connection Jake had with the world around him. I spent so long wanting to meet you because I felt that you could teach me about living harmoniously with nature. Jake confessed. I want to understand more about what it means to coexist. A soft chuckle escaped Bigfoot's lips. You already have the most important part, the willingness to learn and listen. His presence was calming, making Jake feel at ease despite how extraordinary this moment was. So, why did you wait so long to come? Jake ventured further. I left you a note because I wanted you to know I was ready to welcome you here. Bigfoot paused thoughtfully before answering. I wanted to be sure you truly understood what friendship meant. It requires patience and respect for each other's space. His voice held wisdom that resonated deeply within Jake. I get that now, Jake acknowledged, feeling gratitude swell in his heart. I've spent so much time thinking about my desires without considering what it means for someone else. With a gentle nod, Bigfoot added, friendship is built on trust and understanding, qualities that take time to develop. The creature's words hung in the air like fireflies dancing in twilight. Jake smiled brightly, realizing how fortunate he was to have this moment with such an extraordinary being. So where do we go from here? He asked eagerly. Let us share more stories, Bigfoot suggested warmly, and perhaps together we can help others appreciate what lies within these woods. As they settled into easy conversation, sharing tales of adventures and discoveries, Jake knew this night would forever change him. He had not only met Bigfoot, but embraced an opportunity to learn from him as well. Underneath the expansive sky filled with twinkling stars, two friends forged a bond built on respect and curiosity, ready to explore the wonders of their worlds together. As the soft crackle of the fire provided a comforting backdrop, Jake leaned in closer to Bigfoot, eager to hear more about his life. The night sky twinkled above, and the gentle rustling of leaves created the perfect setting for storytelling. What's it like living in these woods? Jake asked, curiosity gleaming in his eyes. Bigfoot turned his deep-set gaze toward the darkening treetops, as if searching for lost memories. The woods are both a home and a sanctuary, he began, his voice rich with emotion. I have wandered through these trees and fields for many years. This forest watches over me like a friend. It has its own pulse, its own heart. Jake listened intently, captivated by every word. Have you always felt safe here? He inquired. Safety is a tricky concept, Bigfoot replied thoughtfully. You see, while I feel at home among the trees and streams, I often witness how humans misunderstand me. There was a hint of sadness in his voice, tugging at Jake's heart. What do you mean? Jake prompted gently. How are you misunderstood? Bigfoot sighed deeply, the sound echoing hollowly in the night air. Many think of me as a monster or a creature to be feared. They conjure stories that depict me as something to hunt or capture. But I am simply a guardian of this land, a protector of harmony amidst nature. The weight of his words resonated with Jake. I never thought you were a monster, Jake said earnestly. I've always been fascinated by your story. He paused before adding, What do you wish people knew about you? A warm smile crossed Bigfoot's face as he responded. I wish they could understand my love for the forest and its creatures. How I help maintain balance. I nurture plants, protect young animals from danger, and observe the beauty of life all around me. Jake nodded, feeling a swell of respect for this gentle giant. It sounds like you're doing amazing things, he acknowledged, admiration lacing his voice. You're not just a legend. You're part of this entire ecosystem. Exactly, Bigfoot agreed, his eyes shining with appreciation. But being different can come with a price. Humans often fear the unknown, which directs their actions. They forget that fear can breed misunderstanding. Jake could sense the weight of those words, linking them together in shared understanding, as he empathized with Bigfoot's plight and felt grateful for this candid conversation. Is there anything I can do to help? Jake asked earnestly. Bigfoot considered this for a moment before replying. Share the truth about what you experience in these woods with others. Encourage them to listen, to learn from nature and to see its wonders rather than treating it as a place to be conquered. With newfound purpose ignited within him, Jake found his voice strengthened further by Bigfoot's wisdom. I will share your story with everyone, he declared with determination. For a long while, they exchanged stories under the shimmering stars, tales of joyful encounters and moments of hardship shared beneath tree canopies and alongside flowing rivers. As Jake absorbed Bigfoot's knowledge about life in the woods, its rhythms and secrets, a bond rooted in trust blossomed between them. In this extraordinary moment of connection and newfound friendship, Jake realized just how critical it was to foster understanding between their two worlds. Together, they would bridge not only their differences, but also inspire others to appreciate the precious harmony of life resting quietly under the vast expanse of stars and ancient trees that surrounded them. As the night unfolded, Jake found himself immersed in the stories and wisdom shared by Bigfoot. The crackling fire cast a warm glow around the two friends, illuminating the deep connection that was growing between them. Jake listened intently as Bigfoot spoke of the delicate balance of nature, the way every creature, no matter how small, played an essential role in the ecosystem. I once watched a tiny ant carry a leaf 5 times its size, Bigfoot recounted, a smile tugging at his lips. It reminded me that strength comes in all forms, and even the smallest beings can have a significant impact. Jake marveled at this insight, realizing that he had often overlooked the intricate web of life surrounding him. This was not just a lesson about nature, but about respect for all living things, a theme that resonated deeply within him. Bigfoot continued, describing the changing seasons, each bringing new challenges and opportunities for growth. In winter, the forest sleeps, he explained. But even then, life continues below the surface. The roots grow deeper, searching for nourishment. Nature teaches patience to those who are willing to learn. Jake nodded, absorbing each word as it painted vivid pictures in his mind. I've always admired how resilient nature is, he admitted. "It's like you have to adapt to survive." "Exactly," Bigfoot replied. "Just like friendships require adaptation and understanding. Each time I encounter a human, I remember that they are not so different from me. They also seek companionship and understanding." Jake felt a sense of warmth fill his heart at this revelation. He realized that what Bigfoot said held true for his own life experiences. Every friendship he had ever nurtured required effort and respect to thrive. "I want to be a good friend to you," he said sincerely. "Being a good friend means listening," Bigfoot emphasized gently. "Nature speaks in many languages. We simply have to be quiet enough to hear it." As they shared this profound moment under the starlit sky, Jake reflected on how much he had learned in such a short time. He thought about the wildlife encounters he had experienced since moving into the cabin, how each animal had its own story and purpose. "Every interaction has been special," Jake said thoughtfully. "Even with that raccoon who stole my berries. I thought it was just being mischievous, but maybe it was just following its instincts." Bigfoot chuckled softly. "Every creature has its own needs and desires. Remembering that will help you appreciate each moment you spend in these woods." Inspired by their conversation, Jake felt motivated to embrace nature fully, to explore not just for himself, but to understand the lives of all the creatures inhabiting it. "I promise to respect every part of this ecosystem," he declared with conviction. The warmth of their shared stories transformed into a tangible bond, a unique friendship built on honesty and understanding. As Jake watched the stars twinkle above him, he knew these lessons would stay with him forever. Together, they sat under the vast sky, two friends from different worlds, bound by mutual respect and curiosity for life. With newfound understanding nestled in his heart, Jake realized that friendship extended beyond species. It united them all amid whispers of leaves and gentle breezes that cradled the night. In that moment, beneath the shimmering constellations, Jake felt truly alive, ready to embrace whatever adventures awaited him in this extraordinary journey of friendship with Bigfoot, a guardian of nature who would forever change his perspective on life, love, and connection with every creature sharing their world. As the fire crackled softly, painting warm hues across their faces, Jake and Bigfoot settled into a rhythm of storytelling and laughter. The atmosphere was thick with camaraderie. The night sky above twinkled with stars, seemingly joining in on the joyous exchange. Jake felt a sense of comfort in Bigfoot's presence, his heart swelling with gratitude for this unexpected friendship. "Did I ever tell you about the time I tried to catch a fish using only my hands?" Bigfoot began, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. Jake shook his head, eyes wide with anticipation. "I thought I could sneak up on them by blending in with the shadows. Little did I know those slippery critters are much faster than they look." Jake burst into laughter, imagining Bigfoot crouching near a stream with his enormous hands splashing water everywhere. "What happened?" he asked eagerly. "I ended up startling a whole family of ducks instead." Bigfoot chuckled, shaking his head at the memory. "They quacked loudly and flew off in all directions. I just sat there, wet and bewildered, while they went flapping away." His laughter was contagious, and Jake joined in wholeheartedly. As their laughter subsided, Jake shared a story of his own, a time when he had tried to impress his friends by climbing a tree during summer camp. "I thought I was doing great until I realized I was stuck about 10 feet off the ground. Legal, counselors had to come rescue me." Bigfoot roared with laughter, causing nearby branches to sway gently. "Oh, how the mighty have fallen," he teased playfully. It seems we both have our fair share of embarrassing moments. With each story exchanged, their bond grew stronger, grounded in shared experiences that transcended their differences. They found commonality in their clumsiness and willingness to embrace life's little misadventures. Have you ever had a moment where you felt completely at peace? Jake asked, curiosity dancing in his eyes. Bigfoot nodded slowly, reflecting on the question. Yes, he said softly. There is a special place where the river flows into a hidden glade. Sunlight filters through the leaves like golden rain. There's something about that serenity that makes my heart swell. Jake could almost see it. A beautiful place, tucked away from the world's chaos. I want to visit that spot one day, he said earnestly. With a glimmer in his eye, Bigfoot leaned closer and replied, "You are welcome anytime." The night continued as they exchanged stories about their favorite places, the hidden trails of the woods filled with vibrant wildflowers and the gentle rippling sound of water flowing over rocks. Each tale wove together threads of friendship and understanding as they learned more about each other's worlds. Jake felt an overwhelming sense of wonder at how much he had gained from this experience. Lessons about nature intertwined with lessons about kindness and connection. He realized that true friendship flourished through shared laughter and vulnerabilities. As hours passed unnoticed under the blanket of stars, Jake knew this was not just an encounter. It was a significant moment that would shape his understanding of life itself. Through Bigfoot's stories and laughter, he learned to cherish every creature, big or small, and to respect the beauty inherent in nature's design. With hearts full and spirits high, Jake and Bigfoot sat side by side under the shimmering night sky, a testament to how bonds can form across even the widest divides when fueled by empathy and joy. In that magical moment together, they found solace not only in each other's company, but also in the wonders of life itself. As the first light of dawn began to break through the trees, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, Jake felt a bittersweet twinge in his heart. He had spent an incredible night with Bigfoot, sharing stories, laughter, and profound moments that he would cherish forever. Yet, with the sunrise, came the realization that their time together was drawing to a close for now. Bigfoot noticed Jake's contemplative expression and smiled warmly. "The dawn is beautiful, isn't it?" he said, his voice resonating with a gentle wisdom. "It reminds us that every ending brings new beginnings." Jake nodded, gazing at the horizon where the sun peeked through the branches. "It really is," he replied, feeling a sense of gratitude for this extraordinary experience. "I've learned so much from you. It's hard to believe we only met last night." With a twinkle in his eye, Bigfoot leaned closer. "Friendship can grow quickly when there is understanding and respect," he said. "Just like nature. Sometimes we must simply embrace what comes our way." Jake couldn't help but smile at Bigfoot's insight. "I want to keep this friendship alive," he said earnestly. "I hope you'll come visit again." Bigfoot chuckled softly, which sounded like distant thunder rumbling through the hills. "Oh, I will," he promised, his gaze steady and sincere. "But remember that friendships take effort from both sides. While I may wander through these woods, I will always carry your spirit with me." Feeling a wave of warmth wash over him, Jake responded with conviction, "I'll do my part. I'm going to share our stories with others, tell them about your true nature and how important it is to respect all creatures." "Your voice can inspire change," Bigfoot encouraged. "Help others see beyond their fears and misconceptions." As they stood together in the growing light of day, Jake realized just how much he admired Bigfoot. not just for his size or strength, but for his wisdom and kindness. "Thank you for being so open with me," Jake said, feeling truly grateful. Bigfoot placed a large hand on Jake's shoulder gently, a gesture filled with affection and reassurance. "And thank you for accepting me as I am," he replied thoughtfully. Just then, a breeze rustled through the leaves above them, as if nature itself were acknowledging their bond. The moment felt sacred. Two beings from different worlds were united by friendship that transcended appearances. "We should make this a tradition," Jake suggested playfully as they prepared to part ways. "A storytelling night under the stars whenever you can visit." "I love that idea," Bigfoot agreed enthusiastically. "I will always find my way back here when the moon is bright." As they shared one last laugh before heading their separate ways, Jake felt a sense of promise fill him. A promise of future adventures and continued learning. With one final wave from Bigfoot and a heartfelt smile exchanged between them, Jake watched as his friend melted into the forest shadows like mist in sunlight. He stood there for a moment longer, absorbing every detail of their encounter, the warmth of friendship igniting within him like a flame. With each step back to his cabin under the brighter morning sky, Jake knew that this was not an end, but rather a beginning. A journey filled with lessons about nature, kindness, and respect for all living things around him. He resolved to honor Bigfoot's wisdom in everything he did and share his story far and wide. A tale not just about meeting a legendary creature, but about embracing connections that could change lives forever. The sun rose higher in the sky as Jake entered his cabin, ready for whatever new adventures awaited him, his heart full of joy for what had been shared under the stars and excitement for what lay ahead in this extraordinary journey of friendship with Bigfoot. As the sun fully rose over the forest, casting golden rays through the trees, Jake sat on the porch of his cabin and reflected on the magical night he had just experienced. The morning air was crisp and fresh, filled with the sweet scent of pine and dew-kissed grass. He felt a sense of peace envelop him as he thought about the bond he had formed with Bigfoot, a connection that transcended words and worlds. The laughter they shared echoed in his mind, reminding him of how laughter can break down barriers and foster friendships, even in the most unexpected circumstances. Jake marveled at how just one night could change his perspective so profoundly. Before meeting Bigfoot, he had only dreamed of the creature as a legend. Now he understood that legends often hold deeper truths about connection, kindness, and respect. With renewed purpose, Jake stood up from his seat and took a deep breath, feeling invigorated by the lessons he had learned. He realized that every creature in the forest played an important role in maintaining balance and harmony within nature. Bigfoot's stories about nurturing plants and protecting animals resonated within him. He felt a strong desire to become an advocate for this beautiful ecosystem, to share what he had learned, and to help others appreciate its wonders. Jake envisioned a future where he could lead nature walks or storytelling sessions for visitors to the woods, sharing not just the beauty of nature, but also the wisdom imparted by Bigfoot. He wanted to inspire people to listen, to truly hear what nature was saying. Just as Bigfoot encouraged me, he thought, I want to encourage others to look beyond their fears and misconceptions. As he walked around his cabin, taking in the sights and sounds of the waking forest, Jake felt a deep gratitude swell within him. Each bird chirp and rustling leaf felt like a reminder of the magic surrounding him. He picked up a small stone from the ground and turned it over in his hand. It was smooth and warm from the sun. Nature is filled with treasures, he mused aloud. realizing that these simple moments were as precious as any grand adventure. He remembered Bigfoot's words about patience and understanding, the importance of embracing life's little quirks and surprises. Jake smiled at how they both shared clumsy stories that made them laugh. Those moments made them relatable to one another, despite their differences. Feeling inspired, Jake decided it was time to put his thoughts into action. He grabbed his notebook and began jotting down ideas for a community gathering, an event where people could come together, share stories about their experiences in nature, and learn from one another. Maybe I can even invite Bigfoot, he mused with a grin, imagining how wonderful it would be for others to meet his friend. As day turned into afternoon, Jake felt energized by this new mission. He was determined to honor Bigfoot's teachings by fostering appreciation for all living beings and their roles in this world. The experience had opened his eyes not only to the wonders of nature, but also to the importance of empathy in fostering friendships that could flourish across boundaries. With every step forward on this journey, whether it involved connecting with wildlife or bridging gaps between humans, Jake knew that he would carry Bigfoot's spirit with him always. The bond they formed under starlit skies would forever change how he viewed friendship, nature, and life itself. As Jake looked out at the vibrant forest surrounding him, he embraced this new beginning full of hope and excitement for all that lay ahead. Ready to explore not just his world, but also the beautiful connections waiting to be discovered along the way.